Hi guys, welcome to my channel, The Determined Gardener. I have a very exciting video for you. This video is all about orchid care. People love these beautiful plants, but unfortunately, they can be very tricky to take care of. So I'm going to show you how, if you have a dying orchid, how you can get it back to life. And I'm going to show you using this very sad orchid you see right here. It's on its brink of death, but we are going to save it together and I'm going to show you how. Stick around. Let's get to it. Now, Garden Gems, the first thing we're going to talk about is how this orchid got to look like this in the first place. Unfortunately, the number one reason why people kill their orchids is because of watering. That's right, watering. So I'm going to show you two techniques that you can do to make sure that your orchid does not look like this. So the first technique I'm going to show you is to water from the bottom. And when I say water from the bottom, I mean don't water like this, right? This is not a house plant. This is an orchid. And unfortunately, lots of people water like this. What you're going to do is take the orchid and keep it close to the bottom when it comes to watering, right next to the brim of the pot. That way you don't get water in here. This is the crown. And if you get water in here, your orchid is going to die. So if you're watering from the top, that will mean that the water will get into this crevice right here in the crown and rot it out. So the first thing you want to do, water from the bottom. Keep it very close to the bark in a medium, and that way your orchid will thrive. So Garden Gems, the second way you can water is fill a pot with water halfway like this, and then just soak the orchid. Make sure you place it in nice and easy. You are making sure that the water does not overflow into the orchid. You don't want that because, again, remember, you want to protect this little crown as much as possible because that's where all the roots are attached. So you just place it in here and you wait for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then you'll take it out, and then your orchid will have a nice drink. And you can see all it moisture right down here. You can do that about once a week. And I find this particular way of watering is a lot easier. It makes sure that the crown doesn't get any water in it. So those are two ways that you can water your orchid properly to make sure that it does not die. So guys, we're going to talk about the orchid itself. This is an orchid I've had for about 3 years. You can see it is still thriving. It's still blooming. Now, I want to let you know, if your orchid leaves start to fall off, this is a huge secret that lots of people who begin orchid care don't know. If the blooms start to fall off in the orchid, your orchid is still alive. That's right, your orchid is still alive. Do not throw away your orchids if all the blooms have fallen off. They are still alive. It is still thriving. So if the blooms don't determine whether an orchid is healthy or not, what determines whether an orchid is healthy or not? Well, it's the leaves. That's right. It's the leaves that show you whether an orchid is healthy or not. The leaves should be nice and firm. It can be sideways like this as long as it's nice and firm and sturdy. If you have an orchid that has floppy leaves like this, you're doing something wrong. You're either watering it wrong or you have it in improper light. So we're going to talk about where you should be putting your orchid to keep it thriving. Orchids love sunlight. They love to soak it up, but they don't like direct sun. So the best place to put an orchid is in a windowsill or on a table or in a living room where it's getting sunny, where that area is very sunny, but not direct sun. You don't want to put this orchid outside in the hot heat with the sun beaming down because it's going to fry its delicate blooms. So you want to keep an orchid in an area where it's getting indirect sunlight, but a sunny area. That will promote more beautiful blooms on your orchid. So how do you get orchids to keep their beautiful blooms? Well, sis, you gotta feed them. That's right, you gotta feed them sometimes. And what I do is I use Miracle Grow. This is not sponsored, but this is Orchid Better Bloom. And I find that this product is really good for orchids. From what I find, it keeps the blooms lasting longer. Now, the direction says that you are supposed to use 1 spoonful with a gallon. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. What I do is I use a spray bottle, something like this, and I have a small amount of this fertilizer in the cup. And what I do is just put it in like this, and then I shake it up, and then I spray the orchid. Now, orchid blooms can last anywhere between 3 to 4 months. I get my orchid blooms to last for 6 months. Sometimes I can get them to last for 8 months. That's right, 8 months. So with the proper watering, with the making sure that the orchid is in a sunny spot, but not direct light, making sure they don't have any drafts, and fertilizing once every 6 months, you can get your orchid blooms to last just as long as I have gotten my orchid blooms to last. And I want you to be able to have your blooms last, because that is the reason why we get these beautiful plants in the first place. You know, guys, someone told me talk is cheap, right? So I'm going to show you right here what I'm talking about. Right there. It is already blooming. And normally, lots of times, orchids have to lose a lot of their blooms before it starts to rebloom again. But I have my orchid right here, and it's already starting to form a bud. So once all of these blooms fall off, this one will be branching out, forming a new, brand new blossom for me. So I am really happy. So you should watch that video. Now, how do you get them to rebloom? I have a video for that. You should watch it. There's a secret to get these blooms to actually start reblooming again. And lots of folks have problems once all the blooms fall off and they cut this orchid down. They have problems trying to get it to rebloom. So I have a video explaining exactly step by step how to get your orchid to rebloom. So you should watch that video, because there's lots of tips and hints and secrets that I have to make sure that your orchid gets to rebloom again. So guys, I'm holding my Cattleya orchid, and oh, the smell. I love Cattleya orchids. I'm going to be doing a video on what to do when you see all of the roots outside the pot. Should you replant, or should you repot, or should you not repot? I'm going to show you what you should be doing when your orchid looks like this. But again, thank you so much for joining me here on my channel, The Determined Gardener. I hope you got lots of good information from this video. The next time you buy an orchid, just think about the tricks and secrets and hints that you have learned in this video and just apply them. It's all trial and error. You know, when I first got my orchid, I used to throw them out thinking that they were dead because all the blooms were gone. And I figured out from a year and maybe 2 years and 3 years of growing and taking care of orchids that it's trial and error. So don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. It takes time. But these are wonderful plants, and hopefully you got a lot of good information from this video. You can share it with your family and friends. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because I will be doing lots of orchid care videos. I will also be doing hydrangea videos and vegetables and peonies. So I have a whole bunch of stuff going on this summer that you not want to miss. So again, thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video if you got any useful information, and share it with your family and friends. Oh, Cattleyas, they are so beautiful. If you have not gotten a Cattleya, get a Cattleya. They have a beautiful fragrance. The smell is terrific. Again, thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. Until the next time, happy gardening, everyone.